Welcome to session 5, where we look at project selection. As I've said previously, you may need 100 ideas to get one project that is a roaring success. So whittling down these 100 ideas is a two-step process. The first one is to get a short list of projects that's worth putting the time and effort into creating a business plan and preparing a request for funding. The second step, obviously, is getting through that funding approval process. So the first step is to take an overview of each project from the company preference perspective. That is, whether it has high impact or it's a slow burning project. Is it easy to roll out, difficult to roll out? Is it a revenue generating project, or is it a cost saving project? So these can be plotted easily enough on grids. Another system for shortlisting projects is to use weighting factors. Here, the company sets its weighting factors according to its policy and strategy. So it might have a preference for growth or quality or health and safety. The project promoters apply their own rating based on their own various criteria for their projects. And the final ranking is based on multiplying the two factors together. The final element of pre-selection is a risk analysis, and this is best done using a checklist. Here's an example of a checklist with 10 pertinent questions ranging from financial risk to technological risk. Once we have our short list of projects and ideas, they need to be rigorously assessed and a detailed business case prepared for each so that funding can be obtained. In the second step then, we approach it as though we're preparing a business plan for a new venture or startup. This part of the process we called the BMAP, the Business Model Actualization Platform. It's a three-phase process. It goes from situation analysis, which we use various tools to analyze the current situation, to the challenge analysis, look at how we're going to get traction, how we're going to get funding, what funding we actually need for the project, and then the solutions proposed, the actual business plan or the pitch deck or the request for appropriations. In the initial situation analysis step, we use a range of business tools which many will recognize, such as SWOT or PESTEL. This phase focuses on being lean and proving that there's a market for the new idea, product or service. The first tool we use is called the Business Model Canvas. This is a relatively new tool, but very useful in both analysis and communication within teams. It's made of 9 segments, beginning with the value proposition, which is basically what you propose to do and what value it is. On the right hand side, we address who the customers are going to be, how you interact with them, and how you deliver to them. On the left hand side, you have another 3 segments, which covers who the key partners are going to be, such as suppliers, what key resources you will need, such as staff or equipment or plant, and basically how you will do what you say you're going to do. Underlying these 7 segments are 2 financial segments, one showing where the revenues are going to come from and the other what costs are associated with the whole value proposition. Taking a quick look at some of these segments, we'll start with the value proposition. And the value proposition addresses what jobs your customers are doing that you can help them with. And now your customers may be internal or external. For example, an internal customer might be your production department, and your idea or proposal might make them operate more efficiently or produce higher quality output. It's also helpful to look at the pains or gains of your customer and to view this from both your perspective and from their perspective. So, for example, from the customer's perspective, are there cost savings, social gains, or other benefits that the customer wants? Or are there unwanted costs, risks, or annoyances that you could mitigate? For each segment in the Business Model Canvas, we have checklists to speed up the analysis process. All of these can be found in our book, Countdown to Launch, or on our website. We'll do an exercise on these later. Let's take a look at the other more common business tools that are used in the process. There are a lot of tools here, so it's important to point out at this stage that the depth to which you engage these tools is determined by the overall size and risk of the project. Being aware of these tools and where they are prudently applied is key. The first one we use is the SWOT analysis. Now, we've all attended brainstorming sessions where everyone sits around a table looking at one another, trying to come up with ideas for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, often to the result of a fairly banal analysis. The best and fastest way to do a SWOT analysis that gets the most in-depth insights is to use trigger sheets. Here's an example of a trigger sheet for strengths. It comprises 17 trigger questions. We have similar sheets for the other 3 quadrants. These triggers not only tease out analysis, but also look for corresponding actions that should be taken. Once you've completed the SWOT analysis, it's helpful to fill out a roadmap of the key actions that have been agreed and people assigned to ensure that each one is carried out. The next tool is the PESTLE analysis. This analysis takes an overview of the business environment from a political, economic, social, technological, legal and environmental perspective. As before, we have a trigger sheet for each analysis. This is the political analysis, and we have 8 key questions here that attempt to speed up the process. And as previously, not only is there an analysis taken, but actions are identified that need to be taken. Again, once all the analyses are done and the actions identified, a roadmap pulls it all together as to when and where the actions need to be taken. And in a quick summary of the other tools, this is the value chain analysis, which addresses the effect the projects will have on all aspects of the business. And finally, we have the 5 forces model, which addresses the 5 key market forces from a macroeconomic perspective. So we also have full trigger sheets for these and the value chain analysis, and recommend outlining the resulting actions and consolidating them in roadmaps. Again, the depth to which you apply these tools depends on the size and risk of the project you're dealing with. So a large project with a lot of risk requires an in-depth analysis, whereas a smaller project that's not so risky, much less so. So in the next session, we'll look at the final 2 steps in the BMAP process, the challenge analysis and the solutions proposed.